How long have we been doing this show?
The Wrestling Life.
Hey everybody, it's The Wrestling Life. It's episode 396. Happy New Year. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Liam.
And we have so much to talk about this week.
And as always, so many things we can't talk about on the first and only wrestling podcast.
Polls!
That's right. It is Ethan's favorite show of the year. We did polls on our social media in the month of December asking you to pick a whole bunch of different categories. Some of them had semifinals to set up the finals because Twitter/X only allows you 4 choices per poll, so you had to get a little creative. But we have, I believe, if I've done my math right, 10 final categories. So we were just going to go over the results as we do every year, and we'll discuss who else was nominated, if in fact it was a larger candidate, and then Ethan will occasionally chime in with a sound.
Yes.
Not so
10 big ways to win big.
That's right, exactly. So, without any further ado, if I could invoke a little French, we're going to
get this brouhaha started.
That's right.
All right.
And we're going to kick it off with a category that no one on this show has strong opinions about, and that is the best female wrestler of the year for 2024. And the winner of the best female wrestler poll, according to the TWL listeners and Twitter followers, Toni Storm, who defeated Momo Watanabe, Mariah May, and Willow Nightingale in the finals. Also, others that were nominated included Julia, Rhea Ripley, La Catalina from CMLL, Roxanne Perez, Stephanie Vacker, Io Shirai, Mina Shirakawa, Mayu Iwatani, and Chris Statlander. So Toni Storm, number 1 female wrestler of the year. She was only really active for like 3/4 of that year. So I don't know. Maybe you could say she's disqualified in that way, but I don't know. She cut good promos. She had good matches. I think she qualifies.
Yeah, no complaints. One of my favorites for a long time. And yeah, you can't say, I mean, just the promo stuff, the character stuff. I don't know that we've seen anything this good in a long time.
Yeah, she really did tap into something we talked about at the time. She was funny in the character right away, but somewhere along the line she found a way to like be entertaining and also cut real promos that made you want to see her have matches, and then the matches were good. Like it's the darndest thing. It's been a while since anyone has been able to put all of those things together into one package, I think.
And then she brought it back with a little twist.
That's right. Now she's for the time being, as of this recording, she is back as Rocker Tony. So we'll see where that goes in 2025. But yeah, I think that's a good choice. We'll get through this. Based on the last couple of years' trends, I expected WWE to do better in a lot of these polls. So I was kind of surprised that like Liv or EO or somebody didn't make it further in this. But WWE is not an in-ring promotion, so that's also fine. And it's a very loosely defined when you just put best wrestler. So maybe people just had in-ring more in mind with it. But regardless, that's Toni Storm winning number 1. Number 2, we have the best male wrestler poll, which was won by Will Ospreay, who in the finals defeated Cody Rhodes, Bryan Danielson, and Swerve Strickland. Some of the other entrances were Titan from CMLL, Jacob Fatu, Darby Allin, Hechicero, Kyle Fletcher, Mystico, Kevin Owens, Drew McIntyre, Hiromu Takahashi, Zack Sabre Jr., and Gunther. Ospreay had a really good year. I don't know. What do you say about a guy like that? He had a bunch of really great matches, some certain wrestling pundits call them the greatest matches that have ever happened on American soil, if not anywhere in the world. I don't know that I would go that far, but yeah, he had a really good year.
He did. Uh, I appreciate everyone's efforts to watch everything
Mm-hmm.
and the diversity of the poll that includes Will Ospreay with Teton and Cody Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
I just like I just I don't know what we're measuring, so I can't agree or disagree. Best is best what? It's it's very broad. I have no problem with the with Osprey, but it's a very broad category.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of broad by default because I mean we have other things like we do break down interview and promo ability separately in a
Sure.
different category. So I guess this would be you can either look at it as purely an in-ring award or you can look at it as like a best all-around award. I've never taken a hard stance on which one is which.
Yeah, let's not
Uh,
define it. Let's not define it. It's
yeah.
it, it's better not making it like all the other awards.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, there like Danielson had a good year, but again was not active the whole year. Swerve was given the title and was put in a prominent position for the first time in his wrestling career and did well in the role, but didn't necessarily have the great matches. And then I'll give Cody Rhodes, even if we are just talking in ring, Cody had good matches with AJ Styles, which no one has done since like 2017. So I don't sleep on Cody's in ring. He had some really good matches with people that don't really have good matches no more this year. So
That's fair too.
I give Cody a lot of credit for his in ring as well. But from there, we will move on to our third category, which is the best tag team or faction. And when you talk about like pickings were slim for a category this year, trying to come up with 16 different tag teams or factions that could apply for this. It's
Buddy,
not a strong time.
buddy, AEW is all factions. WWE's nothing but factions. I don't know what you're.
Yeah, but I wanted them to be good.
Oh, I see.
I wanted some of them to be good. That was the problem. But yes, in our finals of this category, the Young Bucks defeated United Empire, TMDK, and the Conglomeration. Some of the other entrants were the Judgment Day, the Bloodline, Private Party, the Death Riders, Nathan Frazier and Axiom, Bianca Belair and Jade, DIY, the New Day, the System, and the Hardys from TNA. I got into TNA. That's how desperate I was for like acts that I thought people actually liked a little bit.
Sorry, who won?
The Young Bucks.
I don't care for this award.
I don't think they deserve any awards for their 2024, but there was not an obvious team. Maybe Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Every time I see them, they have good matches. Maybe they should have won it.
They have good matches, but their storyline is maybe the most obnoxious in wrestling. It's like, oh no, they don't get along. Then one of them's going to turn on the other. One of them's head got too big, and then they just never turn. They just never turn. 8 months of this. It's like, well, one of them's turning on the other. Not yet.
Sean was like, "What if we did the Rockers thing, but like forever
Yeah,
instead of for 2 months and then pulling the trigger?"
I guess.
So yeah, I don't know. Not a good year for tag team wrestling as far as again good teams. There are plenty of them.
The Young Bucks went home in like September.
That's true. Whenever the Death Rider stuff started,
They
they
called
dropped
it.
they dropped the titles and said we're going home, and by golly, they did.
They said we're going home for the holidays on like September 9th. You're going home for the holidays? What are you talking about?
Labor Day.
I guess.
You were home for Halloween and Veterans Day, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, good gig if you can get it, I guess. I don't know. It was a bad year. I don't think anyone should have won Best Tag Team or Faction. in 2024.
You
But
weren't riveted by the bloodline?
no, Jacob Fatu's awesome, but so maybe I could make a case on one guy being awesome enough that he carried his whole group, I guess. Yeah, why not? Give it to the bloodline.
Sure.
Jacob Fatu is awesome.
I think now it's correct. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to category number 4, which is, of course, best on interviews/promos. We have, thank God, he finally won an award. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the final boss, defeated Hangman Adam Page, Kevin Owens, and Tony Storm in the finals. Some of the other entrants were Cody Rhodes, Jon Moxley, Roman Reigns, Gunther, Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson, Gabe Kidd, Paul Heyman, and some others. But yes, The Rock is the finals. Look, people love this final boss thing. People went gaga for it, even though he was only around for 2 months of the year. So who am I? Who am I to stand in the way?
He was only around for 2 months. He managed to screw up an entire WrestleMania cycle. He popped up
He
on
made them do a documentary about how he didn't do that.
He made them go to the time and expense of producing a 1-hour documentary narrated by a legitimate sports reporter. Talk about how he did not screw up WrestleMania. He then showed up at a pay-per-view in October just cuz.
Just to remind everybody that he's still around. And then he's got the Muhammad Ali Wife Championship.
I don't know, man. What a weird year.
Cut a lot of promos on Instagram where he swore a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. Those felt self-indulgent to me.
Well, it's just an example of he's very famous and also kind of the boss. So he gets to do a lot of things in his promos that no one that's actually on the roster gets to do.
Right. He's used more swears than I've ever heard in wrestling.
Right. It's like this is Shane Douglas in 1999 would blush at how much the F word was used in Dwayne's Instagram promos.
Yeah. And whatever, man. Whatever.
It was entertaining. Like, it was the most entertaining on purpose that Dwayne has been in like a decade. So I don't want to take it away from him. But
he also developed the cadence of a hardened pervert.
Yes, his serious creepy when he's cutting promos on Cody Rhodes' mom. He found the pervert cadence.
Yeah, I got no problem with Dwayne winning that. You can say whatever you want about the guy, but he's short list of the most charismatic human beings to ever live.
Sure. Yeah, and wrestling's kind of the last place where it still feels like a big deal when he shows up somewhere. So
yeah,
he needed a win.
There you go.
No, he was very entertaining. I have no problem with that. Kevin Owens very good. Hangman was good, but a lot of his best stuff they didn't put on TV because they were, depending on who you ask, maybe afraid that it would turn him back babyface.
Unbelievable.
So he cut a lot of good promos on social media this year, also like The Rock, but his were trying to set up matches, I guess. But yeah, no, it's The Rock. He was the most high profile promo, and that WrestleMania had buzz around it the way no WrestleMania had in like at least a decade, probably. So you can give Dwayne credit for that. That's fine. Best on promos for weird, sweary pervert Rock. All right. From there, we move on to category number 5, which is the best major show or pay-per-view event. And in the finals of this, we had AEW Revolution, which is the Sting retirement show, defeating both nights of WrestleMania and AEW Double or Nothing, which is a show I do not remember, but it made the finals. So some of the other ones were Elimination Chamber, All In, Dynasty, NXT Stand and Deliver, Bad Blood, Forbidden Door, and the Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom show. So Revolution, I'm biased. I was there, and the last 2 or 3 matches on that show are amongst the most fun I've ever had in the building at a wrestling show before. So yeah, it would be my pick for my favorite show of 2024. But also, all wrestling pay-per-views are very long and kind of run together. So this is also a hard category to pick if you weren't maybe there personally at one of them.
Everyone loved Revolution. That's fine. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, it was a great show. I have very little else to add. You can go back and listen to our show we recorded after that if you'd like. But
Most listened to show of the year.
yeah, and from there we will move on to best promotion, best wrestling promotion, which is also, I would say, fairly subjective, depending, or unless you want to go specifically on business metrics. Either way, you could argue the right one won in that case, because WWE defeated CMLL, AEW, and New Japan in the final. CMLL did better in that poll than I was expecting, but it was WWE, of course, pulling it out. Again, if you want to talk about a company that best served its fan base in 2024, it's WWE. I don't even know if you can argue that, right? Like, people are still loving it. They're still drawing big houses, and they're making more money than ever. So they're doing something right.
Yeah, I got nothing to add to that.
And then, so this kind of goes hand in hand with best booker,
Mm.
which maybe one of these, pick which one of these is subjective and which one of these is objective, I guess. But actually, in this one, CMLL won. Panico upset Triple H, Paul Levesque, Shawn Michaels, and Tony Khan to win that award. Hey, CMLL overtook AAA the last couple of years. They're doing very well. I don't watch enough of that product to comment on whether he deserves to win. I
We,
will.
I think, sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
I think your polls found the ball knowers on Twitter, on X. CMLL's overtaken WWE as far as the hottest live attendance promotion on the planet.
That's true. Okay.
They saw every Friday night in New Mexico, and WWE's not selling out every TV anymore. We're still doing quite well, but not every TV is a guaranteed sellout, and CMLL sells it every Friday night. So I the listener knows ball.
There you go. I've been taught something, and that's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I had a discussion with one of our friends on Twitter this week, or leading up to this show, and he was like, well, really, the person that deserves the credit for best booker in WWE is probably Paul Heyman, right? Because the things that people seem to like the most are him and his guys' stuff. It's Punk stuff, it's Roman stuff, by extension, most of Cody's stuff, because the bloodline's been involved in that. Like, so maybe Paul Heyman deserves an honorable mention for Booker of the Year, but yeah, no, I have no problem with that, especially as you said, given the stats to back it up with CMLL doing so well this year. That's totally fine. And moving on from there, we have the most improved performer of 2024. I'm not sure I agree with this. Kyle Fletcher defeated Braun Breaker, David Finlay, and Harley Cameron in the finals of this bowl. Look, Kyle got a new haircut, and he dresses differently now, and they're really trying hard to make him a superstar.
Problem is they put him with Don Callis.
Right. And every act that involves Don Callis is ultimately about Don Callis. So
Right, you're stuck in the lower mid card, and you're secondary to Don. Yeah,
yeah, they did. I mean, they put him over Ospreay clean. They gave him some big wins in the Continental Classic. So it's not as if he didn't completely disappear into the ether the way some guys do when they turn. But yeah, it was not. He is the best off currently of the current crop of Don Callis guys. But that is a low bar. I don't know. Braun made himself a pretty good TV wrestler this year, I thought. They just kind of didn't really help him. They just kind of put him on TV and had him wrestle every week. I think he had a pretty good year though. Like they've built him up. He's kind of this weird tweener character, but yeah, I like him. David Finlay, he has improved. He's he's a good Bullet Club guy now, but and then Harley Cameron, I guess in the sense that she had no wrestling matches in 2023 and then wrestled 400 times in 2024, she by default also should be in this category. But yeah, I guess Kyle's a fine winner for this. I don't know one. I didn't really feel like there was a name that stood out the way that like Tiffany Stratton or somebody did last year.
Yeah, that's fair. It's also fair to look at this and say, uh, Kyle Fletcher is fool's gold. Kyle Fletcher is AEW Ludwig Kaiser. That's the ceiling.
Yeah.
That's the ceiling. And he shouldn't be beating Will Ospreay. And if he is serious about getting a singles push, he needs to get out from under Don Callis and probably get out of that company.
Yeah, and maybe stop wearing Randy Orton's tights.
Yeah. Well, that's a personal preference. I'm not gonna.
Fair enough. But yeah, that will move us on to our another one that I feel like people, depending on your personal favorite promotion, you could probably name 100 people for this award, but it's the most underrated slash underutilized performer. And I do think the correct person won this one. The Beast Mortos defeated Athena, Dragon Lee, and the Street Profits in the finals here. Yeah, he is one of the best television wrestlers of 2024, in my opinion. And all he does is lose and put over other people. So yeah, I do think he is underutilized in that way.
Yeah, million percent. Already covered. Currently, my favorite non-Mercedes Moné wrestler is Beast Mortos. So yeah, congratulations to the Beast.
Yeah, I don't know. There seems to be there's a real ceiling for luchadors in US TV wrestling. If not, and even sort of still, if you are Rey Mysterio. So hey, maybe Pentagon is going to break that curse in 2025, and Ray Phoenix too, whenever he gets out of his AEW deal and goes to WWE. Or maybe they'll both be in LWO t-shirts. We'll see.
Seems we have a lot of evidence that points to the latter.
Or maybe they'll be in the other one, the other Latino faction.
Legato?
Yeah. Throw those guys.
Sure. There you go.
Yeah. Get them a t-shirt. That's the important part.
Yeah. How do you like screw up merchandising luchadors, by the way?
That's a good question. In the case of the Lucha Bros, I think Lucha Blog on Twitter, who I just want to reiterate is the only person I recommend listening to or following when it comes to reporting on anything involving Lucha Libre in Mexico. Yeah. There's I think Penta and Phoenix own the copyrights to their masks, and maybe we're not willing to let AEW produce masks.
I see.
And maybe AAA also has some kind of ownership part of it too, that they would have had to sign off on it. But I think the way he phrased it was there were not no attempts made to merchandise the Lucha Bros more.
I see. All right.
But that being said,
I mean, it was an AEW attempt to merchandise, though. So
right, which are never good.
Does it even count?
Right.
I mean, I feel like the closest they've come from the ground up is Hologram. Like a month after he debuted, they had masks for him.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Might be a new record.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then he promptly got hurt, and or his wife is expecting a child, and he was off television for the next 3 months.
Well, you can't win them all.
What can you do? That's song and dance.
But maybe that's also part of why generally when if a luchador comes to WWE, they get a new mask. Usually is to avoid something like this. Maybe that's why there was a Sin Cara and whatever. Like they not only because they want to own the trademarks, but because then you don't run into anyone else trying to have a claim on the mask design if you want to sell those. So
100,000,000%.
So perhaps AEW could have said, "Hey, Pentagon and Phoenix, you have new masks now." At any point in the 5 years they worked there.
Hey, we have to change the spelling of your name.
Right.
You're Pentagon Zero.
Or L0M, as he was for a while.
Penta LOM.
It's unbelievable. Anyway, anyway, to answer this question, yes, the Beast War Toast is the most underrated or underutilized.
That's not what you call it.
Yeah, I don't know. Athena being stuck away on ROH,
It
whether
is,
people
it
whether
is kind of
people like that or not.
promotional malpractice. Yeah.
Yeah, people seem to like the act. I see little clips of it. It looks pretty entertaining with her and Billy Starks and the one interview girl.
How dare you?
Lexi. It's Lexi. I know who Lexi is. That's Mrs. Big Bill. Um, but yes, but yeah, not putting that on your
The,
main show ever.
the disrespect on Diamond Daughter Paige's name.
Did Diamond have a different daughter who also worked there at some
No.
point? Okay.
Well, actually, maybe.
I feel like there was a second Dally daughter running around in this company for a while, but I could be wrong.
Sting's daughter-in-law?
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
But I also feel like, yeah, there's another Dally connection out there, but I can't think of it. Yeah.
I just remember when he went in the Hall of Fame and that was the end of his speech was his like 8 daughters came out into the Diamond Cutter sign with him.
Makes sense, I guess. I don't know.
Sure. Good for him.
Sure.
But anyway, yeah, weird that they don't put her on AEW ever. But
For a time, I had the most read article in the history of the Wrestling Observer website, and it was with the headline WWE Hall of Famer Diamond Dallas Page marries Paige McMahon.
interesting. Is that an SEO win? Like,
I think it's an SEO perfect storm. Yeah. It has to be something like that, right? Like why else would that be the most read article in the history of the website?
wonderful. Well, regardless, that's what. Anyway, now moving on to the 10th and final category of our polls here. The best match of 2024. I'm going to read the winner last for this one since this is our last award. Do a little reverse order here. But some of the nominees were Bailey and Io Sky from WrestleMania, which people seem to like a lot. I didn't really remember that being that great, but I'll believe them. I'll take everyone's word for it. Sami Zayn versus Gunther, Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland, Samoa Joe versus Hook, Mayu Iwatani versus Saray, Mercedes Moné versus Hazuki, Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles from Backlash in France, Chris Statlander versus Willow in the street fight, Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania, Swerve versus Ospreay at Forbidden Door, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in the Hell in a Cell. Those were all ones that lost in the semifinals. And then in the finals, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson, and Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita all fell victim to Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks from AEW Revolution, which is in fact your winner for Match of the Year 2024.
I mean, it's a big win for you personally.
Oh, yeah. There was a runoff, believe it or not. We had to do a runoff for that one because Takeshita Ospreay from that same show won or tied with Sting and Darby versus the Bucks, but in the head-to-head, Sting and Darby pulled it out there. So, I mean, look, it's I think it's the most memorable match of the year. Again, I was there personally, so I'm biased. Darby did that crazy bump through the glass table, and his back was all cut up. People thought he was dead. It was awesome. Sting was taking bumps through glass. We had the Sting sons doing spots.
His large adult sons.
They got riled up by the good word of the Lord, and they were doing stinger splashes in the ring on those good Christian boys, the Young Bucks.
They're very big.
They are. One of them's, I think the one that was dressed as Wolfpack Sting is now training to be a wrestler with Darby Allin.
Yeah.
Who I don't know if that's the guy I would want to teach me like the fundamentals of wrestling, but not that he isn't a good. I mean, not that he can't do good chain wrestling and things. It's just not a guy I would think is
No.
interested in training other people how to wrestle. But hey, maybe if Sting asks you, hey, can you take my young son, my young 32-year-old son, under your wing? I guess you don't say no to that, right?
I guess not. Also, Sting hates wrestling.
He does.
Not hates is a strong word. He's
He's
very
ambivalent.
he's very disinterested.
It's true. There's a clip from a Comic Con that I sent you a couple months ago. I think
Yeah.
Sting's still doing appearances like every weekend,
Yeah.
and someone asked him some question, and he mentioned something about real estate, and you see Sting light up when he starts talking about real estate in a way you have never seen him light up talking about wrestling. Like
Yeah.
that's Steve's real passion in life. He's a
100
good
million%.
He's a good family man. He loves the Lord. He loves selling houses. He loves flipping a 2-bedroom on Santa Monica Boulevard. And then below that, there's like 50 feet of other crap. And then it's wrestling.
Right. So that's why it's a little surprising, right? That one of his 38-year-old sons decided to start training.
Yes, that is quite fascinating to me that he would that he would want to step in the ring and that Sting would allow it at this point. But yeah, as back to the mat. Sorry, I got distracted by Sting's large sons. It always happens to me. But yeah, I mean, it was a great and very memorable match.
Sure, sure.
Uh,
Noted sex pervert Ric Flair was there.
that's right. And Ricky Steamboat was there, who
Yeah.
uh, not a pervert, probably
No.
cheated on his wife a lot, but that's fine.
I
That's just
mean,
regular wrestling scummy.
oh, that's just the price of doing business in the 80s.
Right.
Right?
Seems that way.
Yeah.
But yes, not Ricky has never been accused of anything that Ric Flair's been accused of. Ric Flair, who
No.
signed a multi-year deal with AEW at the beginning of 2024, and has not been seen since Revolution. Interestingly enough, I wonder when he's coming back.
He did an interview with Dave Meltzer and Garrett Gonzalez on the Wrestling Observer website, and he said that he was going to be a weekly character.
Well, I guess he was for about 3 weeks.
Well, by the second week, he had already
They already had to edit something down, didn't they? They put him on a rampage, and he
yes. Yeah, he was giving out his hotel room number or telling everyone in the audience between the ages of 21 and 39 to show up at his hotel. Yeah. Like I don't know, man. I don't know. You can't go on NFL Network and call WWE the Harvey Weinstein of wrestling when you have Chris Jericho and Ric Flair under contract. I'm sorry, you just can't.
Yeah, that's a
And
little bit of a tough
I mean
hard to take a moral stand like that.
Jericho's literally accused of things that Harvey Weinstein was literally accused of. The correlation is 1-to-1. And Ric Flair, we have decades of evidence that he's a predator and probably should have been in jail a long time ago. He's also a racist and he owes Carrie Silk and $41,000.
Get his ass carried. It's my favorite. My favorite. The only reason I'm glad that Ric Flair has a Twitter account is that anytime he tweets anything, like 10 minutes later, there will be a quote tweet from Carrie Silken saying, "Hey, do you have that $41,000 you owe me for this shows show 15 years ago?"
Yeah. So sorry, I don't know how I got sidetracked from Sting's big kids. But there you go.
We digressed from our digression. But yeah, like I said, that's a good match. Ospreay and Danielson was really good. Cody and Roman had all the spectacle and the run-ins and the cameos and like I don't think any of the things that made the finals didn't deserve to be in the finals. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's no obvious snubs or anything. So if you want to say Sting and Darby, like I said, I'm biased. Sting and Darby versus the Young Bucks was probably my favorite match of the year and the most memorable. So yeah, I think it deserves to be on the top of this list.
Well, I'd like to congratulate the listener on mostly getting it right.
Yeah, I didn't have any major. I think the biggest one we had last year was Dominic winning Most Improved over Tiffany Stratton. That was a bit of a controversy on this show, but yeah,
Mm,
I don't think there was anything this year that was particularly upsetting to me when I saw the winners. So good
I
job,
haven't.
everyone.
I have no memory of that. It feels like if you were to ask me right now, uh, I don't know. I think Dom's really good. He's not a great wrestler, but he's Dom is a very good character.
Agreed.
The chicken tendy stuff is like, and the stuff about how he had a BMW instead of a Mercedes growing up.
Yes, he's got
Stuff's incredible.
he's got some really good lines.
Yeah.
And then now we've added in the dimension which I guess is going away, which was the Joe Tessitore responding to in
Yes.
disgust, a la a Gorilla Monsoon type, uh, to everything Dominic does or says.
Yeah.
Just hated that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's too bad. Joe puts me to sleep, unfortunately. He's great.
He's too
I
calm.
I still have fallen asleep on like 9 consecutive Monday Night Raws.
I don't think him and Wade is an optimal team. You probably need a more bombastic color guy to go with a Joe. But
Is hang on. So Joe is moving to Fridays, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, I think it's Joe and there's gonna be an odd man out. I just don't know who it is
I
yet.
think it's Corey right now, right? Because it's great. It's Cole and McAfee on Raw, at least
Right.
for non college football season.
Right, exactly. So that's why I was having a hard time figuring. This is been thinking about this for 4 months since they since they announced it. Now it's back. Time to think about it again. I don't know what's going to happen with commentary teams.
I
Yeah,
feel like if history has taught us anything, Wade is actually the odd man out, and I feel like he's the one that's been shuffled around the most.
that's fair.
So it's
Yeah,
probably Joe and Graves on SmackDown if I had to guess, and or the dreaded 3-man booth returns, and you get Wade and Graves on a show.
Testator was part of really bad Monday Night Football booths, so he can deal with anything. But
Fair enough.
right, I have nothing else to say. Do you have anything else to say?
No, just for
All right.
fun, what was the worst match you saw?
Worst feud of the year was Braun Strowman and Rickish and Carmelo Hayes.
That was pretty bad.
Accidentally racist. Uh Braun and Carmelo definitely the worst feud of the year. Oh, they had like a really fun 75-second match.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Worst match I saw. Um, did Gravity have matches on TV this year?
You may
Gonna
have,
have to gonna have to look that up.
yeah, I think he got fired as part of that first AEW purge in like March, so it's possible he worked a Rampage or a Collision before then, or an ROH.
I'm now on Gravity's uh cage match page. He worked a little bit with Ring of Honor. Uh no, his last match on AEW programming is in November of 23.
Darn.
Otherwise, a Gravity would be like number one with a bullet for me.
Fair.
Oh boy. I don't know, man. What's the worst match you saw?
Well, two things come to mind. One, because we just talked about it last week, which is the Moxley Naito Forbidden Door match where Naito wins the title back. They're just like falling down and blowing spots, and
Oh yeah, right,
and
right.
Naito can't move.
Yeah.
But my actual pick is Jimmy versus Jay from WrestleMania. I think one of the worst matches of all time.
Oh, it was really, really bad. They had to deliver and they didn't.
Yeah, it was awful. They tried. I was like, in a weird way, as much as I have made fun and been critical of the Roman Reigns match style,
Yes.
that match makes me appreciate him more, because watching two guys who are even worse actors try to act in a wrestling match was excruciating. And they went like 8 minutes, but it felt like 40. So yeah, that match was dreadful. So that's probably my actual pick. But yeah, I'm sure there's some other stinkers out there that I'm forgetting about. So there's our action item.
Yeah, just off the top of my head, a place that I thought, what's a place where I could start doing my research on this? And it's like, well, I should probably look at Chris Jericho's big matches.
Ooh, good call.
Jericho and Hook all in?
Probably not good.
10 minutes, 14 seconds? That seems a little long.
I agree. I think there was a there was a 3-way with Hook and Shibata and Jericho that I remember hating.
Holy shit. I gotta find that. Yeah.
They like threw hockey pucks at Jericho or something.
Was this let's see, on a Forbidden Door show?
Oh, maybe.
Hook, Shibata, and Joe defeat Big Bill, Jericho, and Jeff Cobb at Forbidden Door.
Interesting.
Jericho and Mark Briscoe at Full Gear was really bad, but that stood out only because Mark Briscoe is really great.
Yeah. Not even Mark Briscoe get a good match out of him.
Yeah. Jericho, Hook, and Shibata in a 3-way Double or Nothing is probably what you're referring to here. I remember that stinking. Yeah. That was at Memorial Day weekend. Yeah, probably a big Jericho match. I don't know.
Just pick one. Throw a dart at all of Jericho's 2024s. There you go.
Jericho defeats Hook in 1634 at Dynasty. No, I think that's the winner. I think that's the winner.
Yeah, I think you're right. They went forever. I don't remember anything about that match other than they went forever and then Jericho won.
Is that the one where like Jericho like 15 minutes of offense and then pinned Hook in the 16th minute and that was it?
I think so. He let him kick out of the Judas effect and then just hit another Judas effect and won, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. AEW Dynasty. Jericho against Hook. That's my pick. Yeah.
Good choice.
Thank you.
All right. I think that will then wrap us up. A little bit of negativity to ring in the new year to wrap us up here.
Good pod. Me mumbling and looking at cage match.
If I remember it by the time I edit this one, I'll add the Jeopardy music or I'll just cut it out.
Nice. Good times. Hey, happy New Year, bud.
Happy New Year. We did it again.
Waving to the crowd, throwing our wristbands into the audience.
They're throwing pesos and roses into our podcasting studio.
Yep, good. Till next time, me.
And I'm Liam.
We'll be back soon with more stories from the wrestling life.
Adios.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Now, here are this week's bonus features.
I'm not lying.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I believe that it happened.
I overslept by 8 hours.
And that you didn't mean for it to happen.
Right.
I just have no follow-up comment to it.
No. And I
What do you
understand
say?
and respect that. Right. Hey, it's like, whoa, boy, you got problems, man. All right. Happy New Year. Bye.
Yeah.
Anthony Santander's still out there.
Yeah. You put up the Who Want Me and nobody.
Yeah. Teoscar re-signed with the Dodgers. A weird deal. Weird one of their weird deferred money deals. And Anthony Santander is still out there.
I mean, you think the more those guys sign, like the Teoscar level guys sign, like he's got to be.
I thought he would have signed before Teoscar. I thought they were the comp. Like, I thought, right, it was like Teoscar. It was the consolation prize if you didn't get. But I don't. I guess everybody feels pretty good about post regional sports network money in the sport, though. If they're just. Everybody seems to be spending a lot, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't understand how it's possible given the economics of the sport right now. But I was just trying to figure out doing the math of if you sell direct to the consumer, the economics work out really favorably for Major League Baseball. Actually, if you just sell games a la carte or sell a package to fans
Mm-hmm.
directly, the way that they're doing in Arizona or wherever else they're doing it now, where they've taken over.
Right.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like going direct. I mean, if you're not gonna find a local network that can pay you the rights fees to air all the games the way that a national network does. So you might as well just sell it direct to consumer, right?
Right. Well, the other option is doing what teams have done, set up your own regional sports network, and then you
Right.
you're not getting paid a rights fee, but um you're bringing in the broadcast revenue. Yeah, it was split about half and half between teams that had their own networking with teams that got paid rights fees, and now, yeah. But if you just go straight to consumer, I think problem is, most baseball fans are older than I am, and I don't know how they're going to figure out uh direct consumer, but we'll figure it out, I guess.
I try to keep on keeping on.